Welcome to Gulfstream today. It is here. It is Summer of Speed Day. Ron Nicoletti along with Pete Aiello. What a great day of racing we're going to have. We're going to start the day with a fast main track, a firm turf course, and we got lots of great information about our wagers a little on it. Later on in the card, Pete, we have in the Rainbow Six a $100,000 guarantee. We also have in the late pick 4 $100,000, and the pick 5 going into yesterday had 35. It's guaranteed at 50. It's going to be 200,000.
Absolutely, and this is the great thing about it. We also have high five carryovers to put the proverbial cherry on top. This thing about today's card is it doesn't matter what kind of racing fan you are, whether you're a horse player, whether you're a fan of the game, or whether you're a fan of South Florida racing. We have it all for you here today between Victor Espinoza, great racing action highlighted by the Smile Sprint and the Princess Rooney, and the great wagering opportunities that you have. It's really a great day to be a South Florida racing fan, and I can hardly keep my feet on the ground.
And the people are already lining up for signatures, as Pete mentioned, for Victor Espinoza. There you see it. He'll sign from 12:30 till 1:15. If you're here on the grounds, make sure you get over and get online because he's riding races today, so he's going to be in and out. You see right there, free poster signing, and it's right up here by our stage. So just some of the fun we have here. Pete, before we delve into this fantastic 12-race card, we're going to see what's tweeting around the country. And one of the things that are tweeting around the country right now is that we're part of a great weekend of racing here. You see it's 16 graded stakes. Of course, we got our Azalea, the Carry Back, the Princess Rooney, the Smile Sprint Handicap. All of those can be bet on Express Bet if you're out there around the country. So just a fantastic weekend of racing.
And the big day for the folks in Toronto. Welcome to everyone joining us from Toronto. Enjoy your afternoon with the Queen's Plate today.
The Queen's Plate today. Next tweet we want to look at, if you want some information about the Summit of Speed, you can go to this website. All interesting history about these races, and I know you were telling me today, you were at the first Summit of Speed, what were you, 6?
It was a very surreal experience. I can remember watching Hurricane Birdie and the Bertram and Elaine Klein colors win the Princess Rooney that year. So as a South Florida native, it's a special day for me to be part of the Summit of Speed as an employee here today.
Yeah, and we got one more tweet we want to show you, and it's about a horse that won yesterday at Belmont Park, and that is Ready for Rye. This one won the Grade 2 Swale over Daredevil. It was a great performance, trained by Tommy Albatrani, ridden yesterday by Javier Castellano, who is here today. This one won the Swale. That was on the grass yesterday. Looks like he might have a future on the grass. He was very impressive here last year.
Absolutely, and we also have a horse that we'll talk about that won yesterday at Belmont that plays into today's Summit of Speed, namely the Azalea Stakes here this afternoon. We'll delve into that in just a few seconds.
Well, let's get right to this card. Our first race on Sunday, 5 furlongs on the turf. Turf is firm, allowance optional claimer. Fillies and mares 3 and up, $25,000. Scratch the 4 and 13. And note the jockey on the number 6 is Jonathan Gonzalez, and that's where I'll start my analysis. And this is with Pelagia. This one was given some time off after following what I thought was a strong $35,000 maiden victory at the distance. Slow starting 4th place finished against this competition back on May 7th. I like the barn. Oscar Gonzalez, really good with this type of freshening. 31 to 60 days. He's over 35%. And you got Jonathan Gonzalez. That's the jockey change I mentioned here. Javier not riding in the first race today.
15 to 1 on the morning line. Still a lot of wagering time left, but you're getting half of that right now. So Pelagia, one of the many in this race with a chance. I went with the first time in South Florida horse, the number 10. Storm Swept has been laid up since November. Ralph Nix can get him ready. Tyler Gaffleone has the call here. Draws an outside gate with some tactical speed. We'll see how he has to use it here today. But I think Storm Swept is another great option. She's 14 to 1 right now. First race for me is a spread race in the multi-leg wager.
Yeah, we both have the 8 Knox County Zip, and I use Perfect Step in third. Let's flip the page, Pete, and go with the race number 2 today, and that is a 5 furlong maiden special weight. These are for 2-year-olds. We do have a couple of scratches, the 1 and the 13, and the 6 will be ridden by jockey Eddie Castro. Also scratched the number 14 and the 15, and the 14 will get it in and run, right?
14 runs, 13, 15 are out, along with the 1, JR's Holiday. We both picked a horse on top. I have a little, I don't want to say it's inside information, but the 12 horse in this race, Bon Voyage, is campaigning for the Red Oak Stable. The Red Oak Stable is campaigned by owner of Hialeah Park, John J. Brunetti. So I have a little insight into the Brunetti connection here. They like this horse right now. They think he's a very, very talented horse. He draws well for his debut run. Castellano sees fit to ride him this afternoon, and I think he's the key play. Morning line of 3 to 1. We'll see if the steam shows up for him, but there's some talk about Bon Voyage. Voyage.
Yeah, it's Wesley Ward. You mentioned Javier Castellano. The money is going to show. I like that last 3 furlong bullet in 34 and 4. Horse I put in second, Pete, was the 4 Danbury. And this one's by Isaiah Cantharos that produces debut 2-year-old winners. Really at a nice rate, a 23% rate. The Bill Kaplan, really good with his 2-year-olds. He's about 17. That was his first time starters. He's got Juan Leyva. That's his go-to jock. I thought this was a logical choice. Always respect Bill Kaplan.
Well, there's about 5 conditioners that are perennial winners with 2-year-olds in South Florida. 4 of those 5 represented in here when you have Bill Kaplan, Jose Pinchin, Wesley Ward, and Michael Yates. We are only missing Stanley Gold, but he's got plenty other 2-year-olds later on today. So I used the 3 underneath, call to honor for the Pinchins. Luis Saez has the call here. I was intrigued by that. Pinchin can get him ready first time out. The horse with some experience is a horse you used, the 10 Drexler. He sat a good trip last time out and tried to kick off cover and just got outrun. However, the horse who was second in that race, Union Vow, I accord a big chance to win a stake later on today.
So number 10 Drexler on both of our tickets. We'll flip the page and go to race number 3. We're back on the fast main track. 5 furlong maiden special weight filly 2-year-olds. We got a scratch in here of the 7 Queen G. And Pete and I very rarely agree on things, and we are in agreement with our exactor in here. We both have the 2 Amelia's Wild Kitty, daughter of Cowtown Cat, debuting. For who we just mentioned, one of those trainers, Wesley Ward. Series of solid workouts. Wesley Ward, his ability with these freshman runners at Lasix, and Javier Castellano.
This is another red of course, so the Brunetti's looking for 2 wins today. I heard about Bon Voyage. I did not hear as much about Amelia's Wild Kitty, but the workouts speak for themselves. I used her right on top.
Well, A Kiss for Karen is by Isaiah. Uncle Mo, who has produced very limited so far, 3 of 7 debut 2-year-old winners. That's 43% for trainer Kathleen O'Connell. Talking about people that get 2 years ready. Kathleen O'Connell, she's right up there with them. Pair of 5 furlong workouts. I think this horse is going to be primed and ready to run pretty good in here, and you have it on your ticket, too.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention I have to put a little egg on the face there because O'Connell and Gil Campbell, they've won 2-year-old races for a long time here in South Florida. A Kiss for Karen will be handled by Eduardo Nunez. That's the right combination for 2-year-olds as well.
Yeah, you threw in the 6 Nanos Queen. I went with the horse like we did in the last race, Katira Rock, who's got some, eligible to show more, got some experience, was 40-1 last time out.
Finished up well, galloped out well in there, so another horse with a big chance here.
Well, let's go to race number 4, and this is the first of 9 consecutive stakes races this afternoon. 5.5 furlongs, 2-year-olds, $75,000, scratch to 5, flashing light. I went back and looked. Everybody in America has picked a 2-horse in here, Fellowship, but me. Tell me why I went with the other Stanley Gold. I want to hear about Fellowship.
Well, Fellowship ran much faster in his debut run. Now, I know a lot of handicappers will look at me and say, wait a minute, time is only for people in jail. However, when you're looking at the Gulfstream Park 2-year-old races, there is somewhat of a linear comparison because the track variant here at Gulfstream does not vary all that much. So if you're running 53 for 4.5 versus 52 for 4.5, you're doing much, much better in the latter category. So Fellowship ran the faster of the 2. Rios had the option of which one he wanted to ride. He took Fellowship, so for me, I'll take Fellowship as well.
Well, I went with the other one was talking. It's Philly against the boys, and that's Silent Prayer. She's a daughter of Brooks and Downs, but a half to a horse called Sings Praises, who at age 2 won the Dr. Fager, the In Reality, and guess what else? Won the Bird on the Wire Stakes. It stretches out today to 4.5 furlongs. Shook off pressure in that race throughout to win her career debut. 4.5 furlongs, wet track, listed as good. I was very impressed with that performance in there. Threw it on the ticket. Maybe I got it. If I was betting my tries and exactas in there, I'd have Fellowship somewhere on my ticket. I went with the number 3 in second, Pete Francisco Blue, facing winners on the main track. I thought it was a gutsy 5 furlong maiden win on the turf. Larry Pilati. Barn has been on fire. I'm going with the hot hand. 3 for 9 with horses going from turf to dirt. Put it on my ticket. Edgar Prado in the saddle.
Ranger in Paradise, who was third that day, came back to wallop a field of maidens in his next out. The debut winner of his race, Moment Is Right, came back to win a stake at Belmont in her next race. So Francisco Blue's keeping good company. Another horse that intrigued me, we talked about it a little bit ago, number 4, Union Vow. There was a lot of steam on this horse in the debut. Went off at 8-5. Finished second behind a fellow Pilati runner in Big Boy Bruno. Drexler was third. I thought that race was a very good run. I think Union Vow will be better today than he was in his debut run. Like the rider switch to Castellano, the price will be right here. This is a viable alternative, even though you're asking a horse to break his maiden in a stake. talking about sing praises.
Right.
He did that in this race last year.
Yeah.
He was a maiden coming in and won it. So you can win a stake race as a maiden. It happened in this very race last year.
You closed it out with, I got him on my ticket too, by the way, and number 7, Golden Ray, is the one that you put on third?
Yeah, I think he'll want more ground. He finished up real well last time. He was widening the advantage late in the race. Don't know how to gauge some of the races he comes out of versus horses like Union Vow and Silent Prayer, but I think he's good enough to get a slice.
Let's go to race number 5. We're going to stick with fillies, but these 2-year-olds, fillies, and we're going to go to the grass in the Cassidy, and boy, it looks like there's a horse in here. Hard not to have on top of your ticket or somewhere on your ticket, Pete, and that's the one, Ballet Diva.
Here's the thing about this race, at least in my humble opinion. This race will be won or lost for Ballet Diva about 4 strides out of the gate. She has the inside post position in this race. It could be a blessing in disguise for her because she's going to have to get away in good order. However, she flew out of the gate last time out. She was 2 on top before they knew what happened. If she does that again today, it's going to be the same result, I think, even though there's some talented horses in here, like Wish I Hadda and It's High Time.
Well, Ballet Diva, just a little note on that. It's a half the Flying Tripping. Flying Tripping was 4 for 4 as a 2-year-old, including a victory in the Cassidy Stakes. That totally dominating performance last time out. As you mentioned, got out of the gate, just went off to win it by 12 lengths. Jose Caraballo riding in great form.
Well, he didn't have to ride her very much in her debut run. He didn't move his hands at all, and she widened the advantage. We also have impressive winners in their debut runs, though. Wish I Hadda ran really well. High End Queen came back to win, and It's High Time widened the advantage at 1-2 in her debut run. Now, for me, It's High Time's coming out of a slightly weaker race than Ballet Diva. Wish I Hadda, though, rates a long look for me, 7-2 on the morning line. I have to do something I very rarely do. I agree with the morning line maker. I took it 1-5-3.
There you go. So he's doing. I went with the 7-3 Rosebud's Tiger, who's 6-1 on the morning line, stretching out today. 5.5 furlongs, driving first out score for trainer Herman Walensky. He's good with the turf to dirt move, so dirt to turf move. So we'll see how that horse runs in race number 5, and that is the Cassidy Stakes. We're going to flip the page and go to race number 6. As we mentioned, 9 consecutive stakes races in a row, and this one is race number 5. 5 furlongs on the turf, 3-year-olds, and upwards $75,000, named for the great racing secretary Bob Humphrey. It's the Bob Humphrey Turf Sprint. We got a clean field, no scratches or jockey changes in here. I went with the 4 Storming Inti. I struggled in this race, but I'll tell you where I went. This one is back at Gulfstream. Had 4 previous races here with a win and a third. Turning back to 5 furlongs after ending his 2-race campaign up at Belmont with a set the pace and weekend 6th place finish. That was against $100,000 optional claimers. This is a grade 2 stakes placed under Stormy Atlantic. Javier Castellano, here's the thing. His first ever race at this 5 furlong distance.
Well, that's the question. He's probably the classiest and most talented in here, but can he handle a 5 furlong trip? I agreed with you. I thought this race was very, very tough, but that's okay because if you're a multi-leg player, you have Ballet Diva to work with in race number 5. Maybe you can afford to spread a little bit in this race, and then in the 7th race. For me, I went with a horse that I was very, very, very impressed with in each of his last 3 races. Number 1, Successful Native. He won a debut or a maiden claimer for 25, just like any other racehorse would. He didn't really look like he was going to be anything other than maybe a useful horse. Then he came back to finish full of run at a big price against Little Baker, who was on fire at that particular time. Came back after that and won like a good thing. Down on the inside today, I don't necessarily like that. He'll have to work out a trip for Juan Leyva, but this is a horse that really, really, really has improved his game, and he's going to get better as his racing career gets going. I think he's got a chance to step up into the big leagues today.
Well, the number 7 at large, I didn't know really what to do. This one I struggle with. You look at this horse, he's a son of Orientate. He goes back to the turf. He's had a couple of wins on the turf, but you know what I liked about it? He had his recent 5 furlong score in the dirt validate. The horse that ran second, Fish Fan, came back and won very impressively last Sunday. This horse just went and was absolutely the best in the race. So keying off that, going back to the turf, former turf winner, 2 wins on the turf. I just thought keying off that performance looked pretty good in there. We're going to go to race number 7 this afternoon. This is 7 furlongs, 3-year-olds, fillies, $150,000, and we want to go back and show you the performance of a horse I know who Pete is very high on.
Yep, and we're going to get to talk about her. This will be the most I take up on the airtime all day, Ronnie. We're going to show you the Tangelo, which was the local prep for this race. Features the 3 Huasca and the 6 Dogwood Trail. You don't have to find them. They're right on top there. Dogwood Trail and the Jacks are better colors, and on the outside, Huasca for the Efren Loza Jr. stable carrying the St. George colors. As you can see, Dogwood Trail dead game inside. It was her first start off, a bit of a freshening, but Huasca finally gets the measure at the deep stretch point of the race and will edge away. I said it before. I'll say it again. I still believe it to be true. You have not seen Huasca's best run yet. She's really, really talented. If you look back at her running lines, and this is what I want you to know because this is information not readily available to you in the form. She ran second in the Miss Preakness Stakes at Pimlico behind a filly named Irish Jasper for Derek Ryan. If you go all the way back to her second start of her life at Tampa in the Gasparilla Stakes, a race she was much the best in, by the way. She tried to hit the inside fence, and she lost late in the race to Irish Jasper. Irish Jasper came back yesterday at Belmont in a stake race for fillies and mares and aired. So if Irish Jasper can beat the New York horses, I think Huasca beats the Florida horses here this afternoon, though there is a couple of interesting Kentucky imports that I'm sure you're going to mention.
Yeah, I put Dogwood Trail in second, then I went with the 8 Warriors coming out to play, debuting locally for Mike Stidham, stretching out to 7/8 of a mile, notched her 3rd consecutive victory, winning a 6.5 furlong, a race called the Jostle up at Parks. Jamie Thoreau in the ride, going for 4 in a row in this horse. So a pretty interesting race, but I'm in agreement with Pete there. You got to beat the 3 horse to have your best shot in there. Go to the 8th race this afternoon. By the way, that 7th race is where the Rainbow Six starts. You're going to have to decide, do you do a single a horse like that and throw Dogwood Trail in and go a little deeper? Here's my single in the Rainbow Six.
You're going to single Grand Tito.
I'm singling Grand Tito, 1 mile and 1/16 on the turf, 3 and up, 75,000. Scratch the 1 trier. Grand Tito stretching out today to 1 mile and a 16th. 6 previous races at this distance, 2 wins, a 2nd and a 3rd. First start since a consistent but frustrating campaign. This one was, at a mile, he was 2nd in the Grade 3 Miami Mile. He was 3rd in the Appleton, 2nd in the Grade 3 Canadian Turf. Gustavo Delgado, Javier Castellano. I think this horse is sitting on a top performance. I like the fact that it's a multiple winner at 1 mile and a 16th.
Well, the reason I had to pick against him on top is strictly based on the fact that he was in to go on Preakness Day at Pimlico. I want to say it was the Dixie he was in. He had some starting gate troubles. He flipped in the gate, and he scratched that afternoon. This is his first start since then. From a mental standpoint, I'll let him see if he's back to 100% that way. I went with the 7 Gallo Award. He's talented. First start off a long layoff. He won the Grade 3 Palm Beach over this turf course. He had a nice prep behind Joe's Blazing Aaron, who you are always a big fan of, and you picked him second again today. Joe's Blazing Aaron, likely the speed in here. For me, Gallo Award will be better. Second start off the freshening. Edgard Zayas has the call.
Yeah, Joe's Blazing Aaron's got blazing speed, loves the course. He's had 4 wins on this course from 10 starts, likes the distance. Really good combo for Peter Walder and jockey Edgar Prado. Oklahoma Den from our buddy Chuck Simon might be able to close. I just thought this horse might sit a trip and close in there and grab a share. I think it's 12-1 on the morning line. Race number 9 today, 7 furlongs, 3-year-olds, and this is the Grade 3, the carry back. We want to go back and show you a performance of Barbados as a while back, but I thought it was a gutsy performance, winning the Grade 3 Hutchison Stakes. Now you see Barbados on the inside. This horse at the time was the big talk of the town. Had won stakes previously. Comes back, holds on very gamely here to win it. Coming back off the long layoff. He also won the spectacular bid. So I thought off this, Pete, I want to ask you. Great performance. Loves the track. Been on the sidelines. Did you use this one on top of your ticket, or did you back off?
I tried to beat him just strictly on the fact that A is going to be favored and B is coming off the layoff. Take nothing away from him, though, because the horse at second there, XY Jet, is a nice horse. He broke the track record at Tampa over the wintertime. So XY Jet, good company line for Barbados. Was a good acid test for him. You know he can fight. You know he can kick on when he gets challenged. But there's some other horses in here with pretty good resumes. I'm going to go with the price horse here,
so
Ronnie.
I'm looking down at this 12-1 horse. I want to hear about it.
Yeah, you don't get many horses that invade from Houston, Prairie Meadows, and Canterbury into graded stakes action.
How did I know you would love this horse?
I was just going to say, if there was ever a time where Ronnie could tease me on the air, he would know that I would take a horse like that. AM Milky Way is who we're talking about. Look at the trainer line there, racing fans. Carl Broberg. If you're a fan of racing in the Midwest, you'll know that name. If you're not, you won't know that name. Let me just explain it to you. He's good. He's really, really, really good. Jamie Terrio has the call. He prepped for this race at Canterbury in Minnesota, made a very quick move going into the far turn that day, and kicked on to win it. He has some stakes credentials. He was second behind repeat winner Holy Boss at Oak Lawn in the Bachelor Stakes. That's the race I'm focusing on. If he runs back to that, he's a big player in here from off the speed. That's the other thing. I think he can make ground with a lot of speed signed on here.
I want to mention one other horse in here before we flip the page, and that's the 10 Son of a Derby winner, taking a big step up in the Greatest Stakes Company. I was impressed with his horses. I kept flipping the page. He was on the back of the past performances when I was looking at it. I kept going back. Ended up putting him on the ticket. A big step up, but he ran very impressively.
This is a race where you could get an upset, so you can't argue with Son of a Derby winner. He's headed in the right direction at the right time.
Well, let's go to race number 10, and these are part of the big ones today. These are winning your ins. This is the 6 furlongs. Fillies advanced 3-year-olds and up, $250,000. The Princess Rooney, a grade 2 event. I went with the number 6, Merry Meadow on top, and this one was given some time off after following victories here in the 6.5 furlong grade 3 Hurricane Birdie and the 6 furlong grade 3 Sugar Squirrel. Comes out, chases the pace, backs up, 7 furlongs, absolutely not her distance. She's been training well. More importantly, I think she's going to sit a nice trip behind the speed in this race. There is ton of speed in here, and that's why I think you might have the speed of the speed, our free roll on top.
Wow, I actually didn't think there was a lot of speed in here. I kept looking and looking and looking and looking. I said, man, they're going to have our free roll to catch here. She gets good when she needs to, and she's going to be in front here, folks. She can go 44 and change to the half. Nobody can match her early. Jockey Edgar Zayas knows how to get her to go forward. The question is, if you look on the figures, she's not exactly in top form. But for me, she rises to the occasion on these big days, and she will be in front here. I'll take the advantage if I can get it, try to get her to upset Merry Meadow.
Well, if you didn't see the speed that I speed, then my number 4 horse near Sweet Basil, the reason I picked this was because she does her best running from off the pace when sprinting. When she's sprinting, and I thought she's going to sit an ideal trip behind. But I saw her speed near, so I think she's worth a look at a little bit of a price, and that's the beauty of horse racing. Pete sees the race one way, I see it another. I mean, I would not be surprised if our free roll just went out there and never looked back.
I wouldn't be surprised if Sweet Basil kicked on. She's never been beat over this racetrack.
Let's go to race number 11 today. 6 furlongs, 3-year-olds and up. And this is the other win in your in race. The Smile Sprint Handicap, a grade 2 event. 9 runners in the field. And if there's one horse that if you look in the dictionary under unbelievable gutsy performer, it's got to be Grand Shores. And I know you want to go back and show this horse's race from June 6th.
Well, here's the reason why I want to show it. If you don't know Grand Shores and you're not tuning into Gulfstream on a regular basis, he is a gutsy racehorse. He does whatever you want him to do, however you want him to do it. You want him to go to the front, he'll oblige. You want him to come from behind, he'll oblige. You want him to muscle through on the rail like he is here with Trev in front, he'll oblige. Trev trying to drop over, intimidate him. You don't intimidate Grand Shores. He just keeps right on coming. He's gutsy. In races like this, where you have fast fractions against good horses, I like horses that are gutsy because they can get in trouble and that doesn't bother them. They can keep their composure and kick on. And certainly Grand Shores is talented enough to prove that he belongs at this grade 2 level against horses like Alsvid and Work All Week, who will renew their rivalry today.
Yeah, you know, the 8-horse Work All Week is the 2014 Eclipse Champion Sprinter, and I believe this horse is going to move forward off its last performance. You mentioned Alsvid. This one beat him, and this horse, the grade 1 Breeders' Cup Sprint winner, I think he's going to get a lot out of that last race where he was second. He's training well. Looks like he's gliding over the track, so I put him on top, and so did you do, Pete. I mean, you got to try and beat the champ.
Well, I think Work All Week is strictly, it's just basic handicapping angle. He should be better than he was last time at Churchill, and all he has to do is run back to his best races, and he's the best horse in here. Allsvid for Chris Hartman. He has not been in South Florida in quite a long time, if ever, in my opinion. He's won his last 3 races. He's good right now. Chris Landero seems to get along with him. They put Chris on, and Allsvid kicked it into another gear. They're the 2 best out-of-town horses, and then you have Falling Sky for Marty Wolfson. He's not been seen since last August, but when he was seen, he was finishing 3rd behind Palace in the Grade 1 Vanderbilt at Saratoga.
Well, you can see the horses I have behind him. Here's a horse I'm going to tell you is going to run good today, and that's the 2 Wildcat Red. previous winner at 6 furlongs. You got to go back. Makes his long-awaited return after ending his really stellar sophomore season. Included those wins in the Grade 2 Fountain of Youth, a neck defeat in the Florida Derby. Went and chased the pace, had trouble. In the Sunshine Millions Classic, Jose Garofalo, Javier Castellano. I'm expecting a big performance from number 2 Wildcat Red today.
How good is this race when he's 10-1 on the morning line?
I love him today, and I close it out with City of Weston, and that's
City of Weston, Ronnie's old nemesis.
Yes, my nemesis. That's where I reside, and I can't seem to catch this horse. But in the Peter Walder barn, he could run well. Let's close out this fantastic card with the hardest race of the day to handicap, in my opinion. Mile in the 16th on the turf. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. And we want to go back and show you the performance of Show the Gold on the turn last time out, right?
Well, this is one of those things. I'm kind of sentimental here. This name is the race is the Spook Express.
Right.
Tommy Skiffington trained Spook Express. She could pass everybody in an eighth of a mile. She was that type of horse.
Yeah.
Street of Gold makes a Spook Express-esque move, just moving up in hand, sweeping up on the outside to take the lead and win going away. The race is over right now. Prado has not released the brakes yet. He takes a peek over his shoulder, and this is the end of it. Eric Reed, a very, very good conditioner. Happy to see him do so well. I know him from River Downs when I was just an infant in the business. And Eric Reed won yesterday with You're the One That I Love. I think Street of Gold's the horse to beat in here, and I hope she wins like she did last time.
And the one that won yesterday had Edgar Prado in the saddle. I have this one on top for all the reasons you mentioned. I closed it out with the 5 Madaket Millie and 13 Sunset, easy for me to say. But Charlie A is my long shot in there. This one is 20-1 on the line. Will not be 20-1 and will run well in there. But I'm looking for the super high 5. I don't know if anybody could beat Street of Gold, but I'm looking for the minor awards. I think the race is wide open besides Street of Gold.
I agree with you. I have both the 1 Charlie A and the 13 Samba Sunset. Samba Sunset is eligible for A other than, but I think she's much better than that. She's 10-1 on the morning line. Louis Sayers for Michael Matz, who has some horses here on this racing card today.
Well, what a fantastic card we're going to offer you today. As we mentioned, 12 races, 9 of those stakes. Pete, any final words? I know we're all excited to get this day underway.
All I can say, fans, is enjoy it as much as I will.
Good luck, everybody.